Welcome, folks. I am Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
Hello there.
We're looking at a Screen Rant video, Inception Pitch Meeting. This is done by Ryan George, and I'm a big fan of Ryan George. If you haven't seen it yet, we did an interview with him, and there will be a link for that in the description below, and a pinned comment, assuming ACHARA
does her job.
Does her job. So anyway, if you haven't seen a pitch meeting yet, which I doubt, but if you haven't seen one yet, the whole conceit of this is that you have executives, you have a writer and an exec. You know, the writer's pitching to the exec in a. That's the scenario, and so it's very exaggerated.
Pitch meeting.
In a pitch meeting, yes. So that's the conceit of the show, and it's sort of making fun of the process and exaggerating it to a very strong degree, but also making fun of the film itself in a loving way most of the time. So here we go.
So, you have a movie for me? Yes, sir, I do. You're gonna love this one. Hans Zimmer is already on board. That's a good sign. He's great. Yeah, I mean, he only just started working on it, but he has some great stuff already. Oh, I bet. What'd he come up with? I like the sound of that. We should put it in every action movie trailer for the next decade. That sounds great to me, sir. So what's this movie about? What's got Zimmer all riled up? Well, sir, this whole movie's gonna be about dreams. Oh, very exciting. Last night I dreamt I was a balloon. Oh, I mean... Okay. Yeah, it was a ton of fun, and then suddenly frightening. Anyway, maybe that could be in the dream movie. Oh, absolutely not that kind of dream movie, sir. Okay, I mean, that is a riveting dream idea, though. So what kind of dreams are gonna be in this movie? Well, the movie's gonna be about this guy, Dom Cobb, and his team, right? Okay, and what's their deal? Well, they, build these shared dream worlds that they extract information from. How does that work? Well, I'm glad you asked. Why are you taking a deep breath? So the team brings a dreamer into a dream world built by an architect, and then the dreamer fills that world up with projections of their subconscious, which are essentially just people walking around. But if you change things too much, projections will get angry and attack you. And also, you can't build places based on real places, because then it's hard to know what the real world is and what's the dream world. And so they get information by placing safes in the dream, which dreamers automatically fill with their secrets. Or sometimes you can get information by just talking to projections. Oh, and also you need a totem to keep your grasp on what's a dream and what's not. Essentially, it's like a little thing that only you're allowed to touch. Sorry, don't want to cut you off, but little things that only you're allowed to touch are tight. Okay, keep going. Okay, yeah, sure. And also to wake up from a dream, a timer has to run out. Or you need to die in the dream, or you can also wake up with a kick, which is a jolting sensation of falling, or sometimes of hitting the water. We're going to be slightly inconsistent on that. Wow, okay, so that is a whole lot of information. It sure is, sir. That's why 80% of the movie is going to be characters explaining the movie to each other. That'll probably help. So what are we calling this movie? Extraction? No, actually, it's going to be called Inception. I thought they extracted information from dreams. Normally they do, but on the job in this movie, they're going to be implanting an idea into somebody's mind. Maybe we should just call it Dream Squad, you know, cover all our bases. Oh, definitely not. Dream Buddies, Dream Team? Oh, I would just love to stick with Inception, sir. Well, okay then. So what's this idea they need to implant? Well, this super rich business guy, Sato, he wants to get his competitor, Fisher, to dissolve his father's empire. Okay. And he promises to get all of Cobb's charges dropped, so of course Cobb says yes. Wait, what are Cobb's charges? Well, his wife Moll was convinced that they were still in a dream, so she frames him for her death, so he has no choice but to kill himself too. Oh, how does she do that? She has herself declared sane by 3 psychiatrists, and she files a report saying that Cobb threatened to kill her, and then she jumps out a frickin' window. Oh no. Of the building across the street from where Cobb is standing. Well, I mean, it'd be pretty simple to prove he didn't do it then, right? Just check the security footage of the building he's in at the time of death. Yeah, well, maybe it's all a dream, who knows? Oh my god, what? Anyway, so Cobb is on the run in Europe, and all he wants is to see his kids again. Well, too bad he doesn't know anyone that can fly them to Europe. Well, his dad could, I guess. He flies back and forth a lot, but he's not gonna. Why not? So the movie can happen. Okay, gotcha. So how does Inception work anyway? So to perform Inception, they need to have multi-level dreams, like dreams within dreams. And it's best if the idea they're trying to plant comes from a father figure, and there's some time dilation between the levels of the dreams, so time stretches out further the deeper you go, and to wake up you need a chain of synchronized kicks on all the levels at once, which you can synchronize by playing music in the ears of the dreamers. Okay, cool, got it. Really? I don't know. Anyway, says that if Cobb is successful, he makes a single phone call and the charges are dropped. A very powerful business guy. So Cobb needs an architect, so he gets his dad to recommend one of his students. Who does he end up with? This girl Ariadne, and let me tell you, he puts her skills to the test before hiring her. How does he do that? He asks her to draw a maze in 2 minutes that takes 1 minute to solve. Well, what does that have to do with anything? And she does. Oh, she does? Okay, yeah, that's that's impressive. Okay, get her on the dream team. Yeah, and so because she's new, now the characters have someone to explain things to nonstop. That's smart. So they're gonna teach her all about building dream worlds. She's gonna do crazy stuff like fold a city in half. So I imagine we're gonna have a bunch of mind-bending action stuff when they start the job, huh? Actually, not a ton of it. No, every dream's gonna look like a generic James Bond level. Oh. Well, they don't want Fisher to realize he's dreaming, you know? There is gonna be an amazing gravity-related hallway thing, though. Oh, there is? That sounds fun. Yeah, because in one dream level, a van flips over, and, you know, that messes up the whole gravity of the level below it. Wouldn't a van flipping count as a kick? Apparently not. I wouldn't the gravity shift for all the levels below it, too? Apparently not. Well, okay then. Anyway, so when they get into the dream, it turns out that Fisher has his subconscious trained for this kind of thing. Oh, what does that mean? Well, it means his projections are in full-on defense mode. I mean, they have guns, and occasionally they hit their targets. But I mean, if the characters die, they just wake up, right? Nope, not anymore. What? Why not? Well, I need the audience to care about the action now, so they're all sedated, and if they die, they go to this place called Limbo that messes your mind up. Oh, that doesn't sound good, so what do? Well, they try real hard to stay alive. This guy Arthur is shooting at projections and stuff. Okay. And this guy Eames pops in with a grenade launcher like, you mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling. So if they can conjure stuff up in the dream, why not conjure up some bulletproof vests or an armored car? Well, I told you, if they draw too much attention to themselves, the projections attack them. But the projections are already attacking them. Oh, whoops. Whoopsie. They're gonna keep going on with the mission, and Mola's gonna keep popping up and ruining stuff. Like, she makes a train show up, she kills Fisher and sends him to Limbo. Oh, very rude. And so eventually Sato and Fisher are both down in Limbo, and Ariadne and Cobb, they go down to get them. So if dying sends you to Limbo, it must be impossible to get out of Limbo. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, because when you're down there, you either ride the kick up or you die. Both of those will wake you up. Oh, okay, so it's just another level then, with a lot of time distortion and a fun little name. Limbo is a pretty fun name. So Ariadne and Fisher, they ride the kick up, but Cobb goes to try to find Sato. Okay. But since Sato's been down there a while, he's all old now. Oh, interesting. So we're gonna have to make the actor look much older than he actually is. Is that something we can do? Oh, we have some great prosthetics. We can make him look like a very old Muppet. Did you say Muppet? I might have. Who's to say? So then the plane that they're doing this whole thing on lands in America, and Cobb gets into the country, no problem, thanks to Sato's help. Won't it take several months to know if the Inception actually worked or not? Yep, but the movie's almost over, so let's pretend like that's not the case. Well, I do like pretending. And then Cobb gets home and he spins his top totem, because if it falls, that means he's not dreaming. But then he sees his kid, so he doesn't even check it. Oh, so does it fall? Is he still dreaming? It's gonna slightly wobble, and then we're gonna cut to black. So maybe he's still dreaming? Maybe he's still dreaming. Wow. Or maybe the whole movie was a dream. Oh, yeah, right. Or maybe he never actually returned to the US, and Sato just put him in a dream with his kids. Oh, right. Or maybe it doesn't actually mean anything, because his real totem is his wedding ring. Oh, please stop. This is never gonna stop. Well, at least people will be talking about the movie a lot, and hey, if they are, maybe we can make an even more complicated movie in the future. That sounds good to me. Hey guys, it's Ryan here. Hope you like that pitch meeting.
All right.
Wow. Now, after watching that, I'm like, I think I need to watch Inception again. Because...
He made that more confusing.
Yeah, because I watched the movie, and at the end of the movie, I was like, I think I get it. And then I watched this pitch meeting, and I'm like, maybe I don't got this. I don't know what's going on.
Well, when you compress the information into a 2-minute soundbite, it's a lot more confusing. But when you're watching it over the course of, a narrative, and you're being fed information slowly, it's sort of building blocks on the last thing you heard. I imagine there were some people who got lost along the way watching it, but like when I watched The Matrix, I wasn't lost. I got it like completely through and through. Yeah. When I watched Inception, I, for the most part, understood it. I did get slightly confused as to whose subconscious they were in at a certain point. But it was still a fascinating film to watch, nonetheless. Like, it was just a visual spectacle. But I did feel what he expressed here, which is when they were taking things apart inside Cillian Murphy's dream, I just wanted things to get bigger and more epic, kind of like Doctor Strange, but it never quite hit that height. Like, it was Chekhov's gun. I remember, like, my former best friend is the one who I used to write with, was the one who was telling me about Chekhov's gun. It's like, it basically, you take the principle of Chekhov's gun, and there's basically Chekhov's gun all over the place in this movie. It's like a lot of these things are set up and to never pay off. None of it paid off. That is the frustrating thing about Inception. Christopher Nolan is like the most talented, flawed director in Hollywood, because he does this a lot where he's like super, super talented, and he creates an amazing visual spectacle and blows your mind, but there's often like these weird flaws in the movie. It's like, but why did you, but at least the movie was entertaining, so.
Yeah, it was. It had this really nice balance of being cerebral and entertaining at the same time.
I would have loved it if the shit really hit the fan in the movie at a certain point and things were really turning in on itself. You had this element where Cillian Murphy had the, what do you call it, the shield, the defenses, the barrier in his mind.
Or,
no, it was the barrier in his mind to fight against people trying to tamper with his brain, or tamper with his dreams rather, and to get information out. And so it would have been neat to see that fully realized against the weapon of Ellen Page.
Yes.
You know, because she was the one who was like kind of constructing this stuff, and it's like, it would have been neat if she had to break the rule at a certain point and just like pull shit all over the place to fight back. As a film that came out at the same time as The Matrix, there was like the 13th floor of The Matrix, and there was one other one about like this world that was all a dream. And it's like very fitting for this conversation, but I can't remember the name of it for the life of me now. It was with Kiefer Sutherland was in it.
Oh God.
It was like with needles to the brain because everyone is like in this 1950s looking world. Dark City. That movie was largely overlooked for whatever reason. It was a very interesting film, very artsy. The end of the film though, shit hits the fan and it gets really epic with battling of the minds. And that would have been an interesting way to take Inception that they did not for whatever reason. It makes me really hope that Tenet is a sequel to Inception on some level, and if it's not, I hope that he does build on his experience from Inception and just really like blows the lid off. Things get really insane by the end of the film. Like, I want it to get crazy. Like, you set up your principles, you set up the rules that then have to get broken, and then they get broken in the worst possible way where like shit's just off the wall insane.
Well, do you think that maybe there was a limitation because of budget for?
No, they're showing buildings and cities invert on itself when Ellen Page is just goofing off.
What I'm saying is, like, did they just blow their load on like a couple scenes and then they're like, oh no, we don't have a budget anymore for that. But probably not, because like I feel like Christopher Nolan probably has carte blanche with Warner Brothers to just do whatever the hell he wants.
It did have pretty insane stuff. The part where all the people are suspended in midair, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like twirling them into the wire to give them the kick. That was insane. That moment like still blows my mind to this day where I watch that, and it's like I've watched a lot of visual effects behind the scenes. I haven't watched the one for Inception yet, you know, surprisingly. It's almost like I don't want to, because
well, you don't want the magic to be ruined.
yeah, the smoke screen and mirrors is pretty awesome. It's like, I just want to keep buying into the magic, because I watched that, I'm like, I have no idea how they did that. I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around it because it looks so good, it looks so real, that as much as I know about visual effects in principle, I can't figure out for the life of me how they pulled that off. For instance, that part where JGL is like fighting the dude.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of turning. They built a set that was rotating. That's how they did that. And so what happened was the camera was fixed to the rotation with this thing they built. You know, the actors are moving around and whatnot, and it has the sense of the gravity shifting because the camera's locked with the rotation.
So it's moving along with it.
It's moving along with it.
That's so
yeah.
cool.
And so I would imagine there might be an element of that at play, and that's how they were able to get the actors, you know, doing what they did, where JGL is like suspended in midair while he's like spinning the actors around. Like maybe the camera was looking like this, but the actors were actually suspended vertically. I don't know. It's really neat. His take on some of the flaws within the film are very interesting, and it's always, you know, one of those things where in retrospect you have a lot of refrigerator logic.
Like, oh yeah.
But the thing is, for a film with a lot of refrigerator logic in it, like along the way, I missed all of it. He said, you know, isn't the Cillian Murphy's mind attacking them already? You know, because so drawing attention and whatnot. It's like, I didn't think about that when I was watching the film.
Yeah, you just buy into it straight away. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we're on board with that. That's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, anyway, I enjoyed this, like I generally do. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed the Inception pitch meeting, there's a lot more pitch meetings from Screen Rant. They're all really funny, and I binge watched a whole bunch when I first got into pitch meeting. It's amazing. Like, you will get some real good guffaws out of this, because Ryan George is just amazing. And he's also got his own personal YouTube channel. It's worth checking out. It's different. I mean, it's a similar setup, but it's like different content. It's not about movies at all. It's different topics.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.